this video, let's talk about why love is blind. But before we get into the topic, please like, subscribe, share, post a comment or question below. I'll do my best to answer, but I cannot guarantee you that I ever will. Maybe at some point. And more importantly, if you're looking to find your soulmate and get a free copy, electronic copy of my book, The Sex Education You Never Received, click the link below. Or visit the website below, or click the link in the show notes. All right, so let's talk about why love is blind. We often hear this term, that love is blind. And why is love blind? Well, I think the reason that love is blind is because, a lot of times the experience that people feel when they're new in a relationship, they've got a lot of surface level things that they're looking at, and a lot of it is probably just sexual attraction. But the reality is that a relationship takes work, and the reality is that there's nobody out there who's perfect. Okay, nobody is perfect out there. Are you perfect? I can assure you, I'm not perfect, and I'm talking about this video here. I'm teaching this class, so to speak. So none of us are perfect, right? So I think a lot of us go into a relationship with this unrealistic expectation that everything's going to be great now that now that I'm not alone anymore, now that I've got a woman in my life, or I've got a man in my life, I'm somehow somebody, right? Like, you think of that idea of somebody completing somebody, or I found my soulmate. Well, this is good, but the reality is that I think after about 18 months, kind of like that new feeling kind of wears off, and people realize, well, if we're going to keep this relationship going, we've got to kind of put work into it. And I think if people approach a relationship with the idea of that they are entering into like a self-improvement relationship, if they can look at a marriage, or like let's just call it a marriage. Let's not call a long-term relationship let's not use any simmered down terms. Let's talk like real marriage. So if people getting into a long-term marriage, they have to realize that they're going to have to change. And, their spouse is coming into the relationship with unfinished business from childhood, with their own agenda, with a secret agenda that they are not telling to the other party. And, you are probably going to bring something in as well. There's this concept of the imago, of, people basically make an amalgam of all the people that looked after them and cared for them when they were little, and they fall in love with somebody who is a conglomerate of that, or a schema of that. So all of the things that were missing, all of the things that scared them, all the things that brought them joy, all of those things come together into one person. But the reality is that you have to, those deficiencies, your partner is going to bring into the relationship. And guess what? They are going to have to change and improve those parts of their life to fill in that gap. And if they don't do that, the relationship will it could potentially end, or it might just get stalled out at one spot and never develop. And that's not what we're trying to get out of a marriage. The whole idea of a marriage is you have this lower base love, which is based on the physicality, and you want to develop that into an unconditional divine love. In a lot of ways, marriage is kind of a convoluted way of discovering God, but I think it's a spiritual practice, and you can go through marriage, and the deficiencies that you bring to a relationship, you have to die to that old part of you and improve that old part of you. And that's challenging. That's really scary. That represents ego death to a lot of people. And if you know something about the ego, you know that this ego is this delusion that we think we are an individual and we're not connected with everyone and everything and with God Himself. That's the first delusion. You could maybe even call that the first sin, because people get so wrapped up in themselves that they forget about other people, and this is where they can create negative karma and hurt other people. So this is stuff that we want to avoid, especially in a marriage. We want marriages that are happy and dynamic. So largely the reason why love is blind is because of hormones. And we'll talk about that in more videos. But if you want to learn how to find your soulmate, if you're single, never before been married, get a copy of my book at the link below. And again, please like, subscribe, or share. And as always, lighten me honors to lighten you. Peace.